This is Robin with Horror Pop After Midnight. I'm at the Days of the Dead Film Festival and Convention, and my guest is Samantha. How's it going?
It's going very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Pretty good. So how much fun were you part of the Terrifier universe, and did you ever think it was going to be a cult phenomenon?
I never thought it would be a cult phenomenon. I literally always tell people that I read the script and I took it thinking no one would see it. And I'm actually very happy that I did take the film because it's been life-changing and I love everyone that's involved in it. So it's been a lot of fun. Also very surreal. I'm still in shock that it's blown up as much as it has.
So let's talk about the makeup. So how long did it take you to wear all that makeup?
6 to 8 hours. 6 to 8 hours in a chair. Well, in a chair, sometimes on the ground. Yeah.
So you and David had that great chemistry. You guys played off each other real well. Before you got the role, did you know David first, or you just met him on the set?
I did not know David at all, which I was pleasantly surprised when I met David because he's wonderful and he's really sweet, which obviously helps because when he's in makeup. I think I met him in makeup, which was kind of weird because I didn't know who I was speaking to, and then eventually I met David with that when he took the makeup off. But yeah, I didn't know him prior. I didn't know Damien really prior to. He had done my face cast, but showing up to set was definitely it was going in blind, not knowing many people.
So did Phil do some of your makeup and some of the stuff too?
Yeah, I mean, Phil in one was definitely very involved because it really was just Damien and him getting all of us ready and doing all the gags. So I'm sure Phil at one point got in there and did some stuff. But yeah, it was very much a team effort, I think, to get these things done in time to film.
Let's talk about Terrifier 3, the part in the attic. That's one of my favorite stuff. How much fun did you have in that attic?
Well, I think my character had a lot of fun. I think for me, filming it, it was very, very awkward. But it ended up being one of my favorite scenes that I've, I wouldn't say film, but that I watched that I'm in because I love Johnny Abrams is amazing, and David was a lot of fun to work with. I'm actually really happy because I got to meet Johnny, and usually I don't get to meet a lot of people that are in the film because they're not in scenes together, so I got to get to know him, and he's a wonderful actor. I always admired him growing up, loved the films that he was in and the characters he played. So we had fun when we were in our makeup chairs. We had chairs that day. I think it's because Johnny was there, and we had a lot of fun.
So the mental institution, where was that filmed at?
That was in Staten Island. I believe it was at Seaview, which is a half operating hospital. And we were in the wing that was closed down. But yeah, that was an amazing art department creation in a room that was there. Olga Turka, who was the art department, she wore many hats, but she was an amazing artist. She put together that whole room.
Now let's talk about Chris Jericho. How much fun did you have with Chris Jericho?
I love Chris Jericho so much. He knows this, and I've said this many times, that I grew up watching WWF before it was WWE, and I was very much into the wrestling world, and I knew who Chris Jericho was, and so when I went to set, I remember texting my brother and being like, "Oh, just so you know, I'm doing a scene with Chris Jericho," which is really cool. And he was the sweetest person when we were on set. We would he put me in a chokehold because there was a few scenes that didn't actually moments that didn't make the cut, and one of them was Chris was put me in a chokehold, and after he's like, "Are you okay? How are you doing?" And I was great. He was very gentle, but I was actually very happy because I was like, I have Chris Jericho putting me in a headlock. What's better than that? And he's just a wonderful person, and yeah, I saw him a few times at Ace of 3, and he's just great.
So how pumped are you for Terrifier 4?
I'm extremely pumped. I want to know what the fuck is going on. None of us know anything. Damien has kept it very close to the vest, but I'm excited to see it. I've become very invested in it, not only as someone in the films, but as a fan. And I'm excited to see Sienna and Art face off, Lauren and David. I think it will be magical.
That would be very epic.
Yeah, very epic. It better be, because the end of 3 with the chainsaw scene, I don't know how you get bigger than that. So we will see.
So are you a big horror fan?
I didn't grow up in horror. I did watch horror as a kid to get scared with friends. But ever since I started doing the conventions and doing Terrifier films, I've met a lot of people who love horror, and I've fallen in love with horror. I like psychological horrors, was always the thing. But but through Damien and David and everyone on the Terrifier team, and like I said, the fans, I have a whole running list, and I've been revisiting all the classics, and I've now grown to really love it and become a fan.
Since you've been watching some of the classics, have you seen Phantasm?
No, I haven't. What is Phantasm?
The Tall Man?
No, I don't know anything. I just learned about necromantic, which someone said don't watch that, but I want to watch it because they said not to watch it. But no, what's fantastic? What is?
Phantasm is about this tall man, Angus Grimm.
Okay.
He's like this tall. I mean, he's passed away again, and he works at a mortuary, and he grabs all these dead people and shrinks them to little like demonic little like sand people. You know, like the sand people from Star Wars.
That's scary.
And then they got the flying spheres, like silver balls that fly, and they have a blade, and it goes right into your forehead and then drills right into you.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. No. I will attempt to watch that, but sounds terrifying. I'm a little scaredy cat, so I cover my eyes through every Terrifier film. I can't handle the blood and the cutting and the oozing and all that stuff, and I will scream and jump and yeah.
My question: you were a big fan back during the WWF days when wrestling was fun. So
Is it not fun anymore? Is it?
no, it still is. I'm a big AEW guy. But so who was that big wrestler that really got you into watching wrestling besides Chris Jericho?
I loved all the stories. I love the dynamics. I mean, that was when Triple H was and Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock. But I really love Lita and the Hardy Boys. I have two brothers, and I grew up with boys. And for some reason, I think I identified a lot with her. I thought she was so fucking awesome, and she is awesome and badass. That was like me as a little kid was just like she's iconic. So those were my favorite.
That's pretty awesome. Mine was like the Hart Foundation and Rowdy Piper.
Okay, amazing. Listen, those are the good old days.
The Hardy Boys were good too.
They were great. I mean, I was, like I said, I think I projected onto them. I saw myself and my brothers and them. But it's cool because Lita was at one of the cons that we were at, and I didn't get to meet her, but I was like just excited that she was there. So.
And then one more last question. So when you're not in front of the camera and all that great stuff, do you have a nerdy passion you enjoy?
I love reading. I literally have, I geek out on Goodreads. Everyone's on Letterboxd. I have Letterboxd, and I love movies, but I've read 47 books already this year. So, I mean, that's not even a lot, I don't think. But, yeah, 47. Do I have 47? No, sorry, I read 27. That's a lie. 27, and I'm trying to get to 47. But I'm a big reader, so.
So where can everybody find you on social media?
So I am on Instagram. It's my first initial and my last name, so it's Scaffidi. I am not very active on social media. I like being present in the world, so I do have it. Once in a while I'll check it, but it's very overwhelming to me. But that's where I am, and I sometimes see things or get sent to me.
So is there any other projects you're going to be doing?
Well, right now I switched over to directing in 2019, so I'm writing my own feature. I have several projects that are getting developed right now, and hopefully in the next year and a half I'll be making my first feature film. So that's what's down the pipeline, and acting gigs will pop up, but that's really what I'm focused on.
So your future film you're doing, is it going to be horror?
There's a horror one in there, and then there's one that kind of I think there are always horror. Something's wrong with me clearly because I played Victoria Hayes and I'm in Terrifier, but there's always like horror elements, even if it's not like straight horror genre. But I think at some point there is a film that I am writing that will be straight in the horror genre. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
There you have it.